man, we back with another video on the channel, man. BryceDaBadger. And look, this is something a little different. We got a Chronicle of Horrific Fates, number 60. He just uploaded this today. This is from shit. I'm forgetting that. Yeah, Oblivious. I was about to say Oblivion, but that's a game. That's a game. All right, bro. Let's get into it. I'm laughing right now. We not about to be laughing by the end of this. I'm gonna let you know right now, bro. I be listening to some.
On the night of March 3rd, 2017, identical twin sisters Jean Haley and Martha Williams left their home in Barrington, Rhode Island with plans for nothing more than a quiet evening out with family.
Right.
The two women were 97 years old, only 2 months shy of their 98th birthday. And despite their age, they were known for being active, independent, and close with their siblings.
I ain't gonna lie, they look like the type that would talk shit. I swear to God, if they were together, the two of these women together, bruh, they talking so much shit. Oh my God. They talking so much shit, especially Shorty on the right, man. Shorty on the right, man, she talking hella. But RIP to these women, bro. I know something crazy happened to them. This is a Chronicle of Horrific Fates, bruh. By the way, this is being recorded and streamed live right now on Twitch. Twitch.tv/BryceDaBadger. It's in the description, bro. Just click the link and then click follow. That's all you got to do. It's 2 clicks. Bang, bang. I already know that you logged in on your Twitch, bro. I know that you logged in, bro. I'm hacked into your phone. I'm hacked into your technology, bro. You didn't know that, bro. We in 2025, bro. You think I can't do that? Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You got to get with the times. You got to get with the times. You acting like you look like these ladies right now. You're acting like you look like these ladies right now. RIP these women, though. Because I know some crazy shit happened to them. That's the second time I said that shit. Let's get back into it. Oh, I hit space. Nothing happened.
But what they didn't know was that the few simple steps from their car to their front door would turn into a situation neither of them could escape from.
Steps to their front door?
Everything that happened, you have to begin earlier on that evening. Jean and Martha had gone out to dinner with their younger sister, who was 89 at the time. The three of them had a habit of meeting up, eating together, and spending time just as they had done throughout their lives.
Right.
Now, there was nothing unusual about this specific night. They didn't drink and they weren't out too late. This was just a normal family outing.
Okay.
After dinner, the three sisters returned to Jean's home on Opeachy Drive in Barrington. The time was somewhere between 8 and 8:30 p.m., confirmed later by investigators. Now, Jean was the one who drove the car that night.
Right.
Even at 97, she was still licensed, still capable, and still comfortable behind the wheel.
Good God.
Martha, on the other hand, relied on a walker for support. The two had always balanced each other out. Jean was more mobile, while Martha was more careful, but both were still mentally sharp and physically capable, at least for their ages. When they pulled into the driveway, the younger sister, who had followed them home in her own vehicle, said goodbye and left, as she had no reason to worry or stay longer as the twins lived together, supported each other, and handled their nightly routine without issue. As far as anyone knew, the night was perfectly normal, but what no one saw was the exact conditions outside. According to the National Weather Service, temperatures in Barrington had already started dropping from the low 20s into the teens by the time the sisters had gotten home, and the wind was blowing at 10 to 15 miles per hour, which accelerates heat loss dramatically.
Yeah,
Over
that's
the previous
cold.
days, a mix of melting snow and light freezing rain had left many residential driveways in the area coated in thin, transparent ice.
Yeah, that's cold, bro. He said it's about 20. It's about 20, negative 20 about out there. With some winds. Ooh, chill to the bones. If it wasn't negative 20, he said it was 20.
Kinda like the type that reflects no light and blends completely into pavement.
It's called black ice.
And in neighborhoods like theirs, where homes are spaced apart and street lighting doesn't directly hit private driveways, these patches become extremely difficult to detect even for much younger adults.
Yeah.
Let alone someone of their age.
Absolutely.
I want you to keep that in mind, by the way.
Okay.
But after the younger sister drove
in the
away,
head,
Jean
in the
and Martha
cranium,
began making their way from the driveway toward the house. Martha moved slowly with her walker, focusing on steady steps across the pavement, while Jean walked a bit behind her. The cold was already severe, and as I stated before, weather records showed that temperatures would continue dropping throughout the night, eventually reaching 11 degrees by early morning. Now, the turning point came only seconds after they stepped away from the car. At some point during their walk toward the front door, Martha slipped. Investigators later concluded she likely stepped on a patch of black ice, lost her footing, and fell backward. Because the ice offered no traction, her walker remained standing upright beside her, something police noted later because it indicated she didn't get knocked over or lose her balance in any uncontrolled way. She simply just...
I'm confused as to why police are noting these things. These are basic things. What happened? We talking about black ice. We talking about a slip on black ice. Again, she is elderly. However, what the hell happened for police to have to come out here? Did she crack her cranium and then her friend tried to help her and she also slipped? This is what I'm thinking. That's the conclusion that I'm coming to. Everybody that is on some I'm sad to say, on some cartoon shit, everybody that tried to come help her also slipped up on the black ice and somehow cracked their cranium. I don't understand what's going on currently.
Slipped backward and landed on the driveway. Now, given her age and her reliance on the walker, getting back
For the record, I don't know what's going on with my volume button.
Jean saw her sister fall and did what anyone would do. She moved quickly toward her
to help her.
But the pavement, as I said, was covered in the same
There's
no
ice. Way.
So as she approached Martha, she would also slip.
She slipped too.
Her fall carried her toward the garage area.
Are you telling me they just froze outside because they couldn't get up?
Door, and just like Martha, she was unable to stand back up. And this is where the horrific part of the story begins. The part most people don't think about when they hear hypothermia. When someone lies on frozen pavement, the ground pulls body heat away up to 25 times faster than cold air. So the moment their clothing made contact with the ice, heat began draining out of their bodies at a rate their age simply couldn't withstand. So within minutes, their skin would have started to burn with cold, like deep aches that cut into the bones and make every attempt to move feel heavy and slow. As their core temperatures slipped below 95 degrees Fahrenheit, their muscles would have started to fail. Hypothermia isn't just cold, it shuts down the body from the inside. Their hands would have stiffened to the point where fingers barely responded. Their legs, already weakened from the fall, would have refused to cooperate.
This is every attempt to push up
from the ice would have felt like trying to lift their own body weight through wet cement. Now, as hypothermia deepens, shivering becomes more violent, then stops completely. Not because the person is warm, but because the body no longer has enough energy to shake. Confusion sets in, thinking clearly becomes almost impossible. People start making slow, uncoordinated movements, sometimes barely lifting their arms or trying to crawl inches at a time. That confusion would have hit them slowly and silently as the night went on. Even their ability to yell for help would have collapsed. In freezing air, the vocal cords thicken and stiffen. Breathing turns shallow, and speech becomes quiet without the person even realizing it. Now add in the residential layout, spaced out homes, windows shut tight against the freezing temperatures, and cul-de-sacs with almost no nighttime traffic, and the odds of anyone hearing them become nearly zero. The wind only makes everything even worse.
Because they're gonna get colder faster.
Across the driveway would have stripped more heat from their exposed skin. Frostbite doesn't take long at those temperatures. And the first signs, numbness and waxy skin, would have crept in silently. Their cheeks, hands, and ears would have gotten numb first, followed by a spreading cold that felt like it was sinking deeper into their bodies. Now, the detail I'm about to share with you is actually incredibly sad. Investigators later mentioned that Jean's body position suggested she tried to move toward the garage door, so she was close enough to reach safety, just a few more inches of movement. But like I said before, the ice offered no traction. Her clothing was frozen against the pavement.
Ain't even that, they're weakened, older.
Her coordination gone, and her ability to pull herself forward
I feel like somebody younger could have pulled this off.
Was just as grim. The walker still upright beside her meant she likely tried to grab it to pull herself up. But with no grip strength, stiff fingers, and no friction on the ice, she had no leverage. So every attempt she made only drained more of the little energy her body still had. As the hours passed, the scene around them turned even harsher. Frost formed across the driveway. Their clothes stiffened even more, and their breathing slowed more and more. Eventually, as their core temperatures fell toward the low 80s, unconsciousness became inevitable.
Mind you, chat, they in under freezing temperatures.
Where victims stopped.
They are in under freezing temperatures. The freeze point of water, I believe, is 32 degrees, if I'm not mistaken. They are in temperatures that are below 32 degrees. Do you understand how much water makes up your body? It's something like 60 to 70%. If I'm not mistaken, it should be 70+%. Your body is made up of water. Do you know what water does in the cold? It freezes. Yeah, they are going through unimaginable pain right now. And then they are elderly as well. Like I said, I believe that younger people would be able to make it out of this situation. But they are entirely too old. One of them can't walk properly. She has a walker. One of them cannot walk properly anymore. This is sad, bro. This is, man. God, this is sad.
Moving, stop shivering, and simply slip deeper into the cold until the heart can't keep pumping. By the time dawn approached, the twins had been lying outside for nearly 12 hours.
12 hours in the
around 8 a.m. on March 4th, a neighbor leaving for the day looked over and noticed two shapes lying motionless in the driveway. Getting closer and realizing what they were looking at, that neighbor immediately called 911. When first responders arrived, they found Jean near the garage door and Martha near her walker. EMS confirmed there was no signs of trauma beyond the fall and the effects of the cold exposure. The Rhode Island medical examiner determined the cause of death was severe hypothermia. Police found no signs of foul play, no forced entry, and no suspicious activity.
Yeah, they just slipped.
Only the frozen driveway that had turned two simple steps into a fatal situation. Jean and Martha lived 97 years side by side. They were born together, they stayed together, and by tragic circumstances, died together. Their final night wasn't reckless or dramatic. It was a silent, unforgiving freeze on black ice. The kind of accident that happens in seconds, but becomes impossible to escape even when safety is only a few feet away.
Damn, bro. That's a sad story, bro.
Christine Marie Rollins, at 59 years old.
I ain't gonna lie, that was some selfless self-promo right there. If I was just listening like I do at work, I would have never seen it. I would have never seen it, dog. Christine Marie Rollins. Let's learn about her. Let's learn about the tragic fate.
Worked as a private caretaker for an elderly woman in Chambers County, Texas. Her days began early, often long before sunrise, because a woman she cared for needed help getting ready each morning. She lived in Liberty County, about half an hour away from the home where she worked.
Okay.
Now that part of Texas is filled with long stretches of rural land, two-lane roads, open fields, and scattered houses separated by wide spaces.
So none but country.
And the property where she worked was no different.
None but
sat
country.
off Cove Road near Anahook, with a main house, a separate small building on the property, a long driveway, and plenty of natural landscapes surrounding it. Now, people familiar with that area know that it's normal to see wildlife passing through open yards or moving near tree lines.
Yeah.
It isn't city living. It's
I ain't even know
quiet,
that, but
spacious,
I
and rural.
done grew
Christine
up seeing
had been
chickens
employed by the
and
family
shit
for close to a year.
in the middle
She
of
helped
the
the
road.
elderly woman with morning tasks like preparing food, helping her get dressed, checking medication, and making sure the home was set up for the day. These were the things she had done in caregiving roles for years,
Right.
and she was trusted to handle them without supervision. Her employers described her as reliable, her friends described her as dependable, and people close to her said she rarely missed work unless something unavoidable came up. And even then, she communicated clearly. Now, on the evening of November 23rd,
Is it weird that I hate those types of descriptions for people that like work with people? The only description is that they have great attendance and they work hard. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do. That doesn't mean anything. Don't use that as one of the qualifying factors as to why you fuck with me. Just because I work hard. That's something I'm supposed to do. That's baseline. That's like a woman telling you I want loyalty and honesty out of my man. Yeah, duh. I'm just saying.
Here stood out. She spent time with her friends earlier in the evening, spoke with her boyfriend later on, and went about her night as she normally would before an early shift. So she didn't mention feeling sick, she didn't report anything unusual, and her conversations were the same as every night
some
before
horrific
work.
shit.
The next morning, she woke up at her usual time. It was still dark outside. She gathered the items she normally took with her and then walked outside to her car. She then started to drive from Liberty County to Chambers County. Now at that hour, men
What
traveled
state are we
roads
in?
with almost no traffic, so she would get there fast. Christine reached the property shortly before 6 a.m., which matched her usual arrival time. She stepped out, grabbed her things, and began walking toward the house.
All right.
The path from her car to the front door was short and simple. She did it every shift. The porch light offered a faint glow around the entrance, but the yard itself remained dark. This you need to keep in mind. Now, inside the home, the elderly woman Christine cared for was still asleep. She expected Christine to come in soon, just like every other morning.
Right.
The woman couldn't move around easily, so Christine's arrival was an important part of her daily stability.
Right.
Usually Christine would enter quietly, but she always came in around the same time. But on this morning, that familiar routine did not happen. After enough time passed without hearing Christine come inside, the elderly woman began to feel uneasy. She couldn't just go outside and check, but she knew something wasn't right. Her husband lived in the small building across the driveway. I don't know why, but according to what
I'm about to say, why they live in two separate houses?
I found, he just did.
He just did. Okay, sure. Let's just go with it. You know what I mean? We just gonna rock out.
And sometime around 6:45, he stepped outside to walk over to the main house. Now this was a normal part of his routine.
There's a blur.
He noticed something on the ground.
There's a blur in the path.
At first, he couldn't tell what it was, but when he got closer, he realized it was Christine.
What?
She was lying on the ground, only a few steps from the front door.
Don't tell me she's bloody.
He immediately called 911.
Is she bloody?
Deputies with the Chambers County Sheriff's Office and emergency medical personnel arrived quickly. Christine was unresponsive, and paramedics confirmed she had died before they reached her. Because the circumstances weren't immediately clear, deputies examined the area closely. The injuries present on her body were not typical of a fall or medical collapse. They documented the scene carefully, photographed the area, and treated it as a case requiring forensic review. Her body was taken to the Harris County Institute of Forensic Sciences, where full examination was done. Medical examiners looked at the wounds, the distribution of injuries, and the condition of the surrounding environment. They compared her injuries to known patterns of trauma and ruled out possibilities one by one. There was no signs of assault by another person, there was no indication of medical collapse causing the injuries, there was no vehicle strikes or evidence of any sharp weapons.
Then what the fuck killed her, and how does she have markings on her body? What killed? Strangulation. Right?
At least from humans.
No, they said there was no attack from a human. There's no attack from another person. What the fuck are you? What? Huh? There was no attack from another person? Well, how the fuck she dead? How is she dead? Well, I mean, have you given me all the information, or do I need more? Let's listen.
Now, what the examination did show was absolutely brutal. Christine had sustained multiple puncture wounds, deep tearing injuries, and extensive trauma consistent with being attacked by a group of feral hogs.
What? What? She got killed by hogs? I mean, I could see it. Trust and believe I could see it. But like, what? Nah, let me listen.
The wounds were not clear or uniform.
Let me listen more.
Ragged, uneven, and spread across her body.
Right.
Which is what happens when several hogs rush, ram, bite.
Several animals. It ain't even got to be hogs. Several animals. It could have been dogs. But like, hogs makes way more sense. You was already talking about how they got animals out there. That makes 100% sense.
And hook a victim simultaneously. Now, feral hogs don't attack like dogs or cats. They use their speed, weight, and tusks as weapons. A mature hog can weigh 200 to 300 pounds and can run up to 30 miles per hour, which is faster than even Usain Bolt.
Damn.
When they charge, they slam into a person's legs to knock them down.
Yeah, they do.
The torso,
and they got horns and
face.
shit, so.
Their lower tusks are sharp,
there
curved upward, and designed to tear, not puncture cleanly. The medical examiner confirmed that Christine's injuries included tusk/lacerations, multiple penetrating wounds from repeated charges, severe tearing damage to soft tissue, and extensive bleeding from numerous blood vessels opened during the attack. She died from exsanguination, meaning she bled out from the sheer number of openings in her body.
Damn!
And because it was still dark outside, she would have had almost no warning until the hogs were already on her. Once that conclusion was reached, investigators returned to the property to examine the ground.
That's fucked. That's so fucked.
They documented multiple sets of hog tracks around the area
crazy.
where Christine's body had been found. The ground showed signs of disturbance.
I'm like, y'all, I gotta click back in the video so I can pause it.
Consistent with rapid animal movement.
My bad.
Soil was soft from recent rain, making tracks and drag marks more visible. Now, just like the last story, Christine had almost made it inside.
Right.
The attack happened just a few feet from the front door. But like I said, just like the last story, unfortunately she didn't make it inside. She just wasn't fast enough. Based on the evidence, investigators concluded that Christine had stepped out of her vehicle and was walking toward the house when she encountered the hogs. In poor lighting with dark terrain and low visibility, she likely did not see them until they were already close.
That's some
the attack would have
bullshit,
been
bro.
fast, chaotic, and overwhelming. And with the homeowners inside asleep, the
Nobody
struggle
gonna hear
went
that shit.
unheard.
Yeah.
Now, the deputies tried to find the hogs, but they could not identify or isolate the specific hogs involved.
They gone.
As feral hogs travel in groups, roam large territories, and don't stay put after an attack. Her death was ruled a feral hog attack, one of the rarest but most violent wildlife-related fatalities in the United States.
Damn, bro. Story number 3.
Stephen Dyerke showed up for a shift on June 2nd, 2022 at the Caterpillar Foundry in Mapleton, Illinois, and nothing about that morning stood out as unusual, because this was a place where people dealt with heat, noise, and heavy steel every single day.
Right.
And the routines were set in stone that workers often joked the building itself could run the first few hours of the shift without anyone in it.
Damn.
This was a massive facility where iron was melted down and poured into molds to create parts for the enormous machines Caterpillar builds. And everything in that environment ran off a rhythm.
Well, chat, we already know how this gonna go.
Process
Fuck.
over and over again.
God
The part of the
damn.
plant Stephen worked in was the melting and casting area, which is already one of the most dangerous
I told
areas in any
We
foundry,
already know how this
because
gonna
you're
go.
dealing with iron heated
Damn.
temperatures that most people would back away from,
Come on,
even
bro.
if they were 5 or 6 feet away
Come
from
on,
it.
bro.
You've got these giant furnaces, recessed pits, elevated walkways, steel platforms, and open areas where molten metal sits glowing orange for hours. Now, Stephen wasn't an old employee who had been there for decades.
Yeah.
According to OSHA documents,
That's usually who it happens to. That's the saddest part of it all, dog. That's the saddest part of it all. It usually happens. It usually happens to the dudes that's been working there, or the people that's been working there for so long that they just get into emotion, bro. They get into emotion. It's a routine. Boom, boom, boom. I know what I'm doing every day. I'm gonna come in here and do it. I know what I'm doing every day. I'm gonna come in here. Oh shit, I fucked up one of the steps. And it only takes one time to fuck up. And this nigga done slipped up and fell into a vat of molten iron, molten metal. Oh my God, bro.
and
Yeah,
local reporting,
tell me the
he
story.
had only been at the foundry for about a week.
Tell me the
And at a
story,
facility
man.
with this level of danger, 1 week is barely enough time.
He been
to
somewhere
learn
for
what
a week?
everything is, let alone how everything works.
Hell no.
Normally, new hires get a walkthrough, hands-on.
Do y'all see the amount of sparks? I can't tell if this is an AI image or not. Do y'all see the amount of sparks, though? Nigga, no. I'd rather not. I don't know how much fear or confidence you have to have or not have, because for fear, you have to have like little to no fear. Bro, for confidence, nigga, you have to have all the confidence in the world to work in an environment like this. And your protection are the gloves on these niggas' hands, and the helmet that is connected to a mask, a COVID mask. You saw people wearing masks like this during COVID. I know you did. Nigga, that's all I got? And I have to deal with fireworks? Are you insane? Nigga, suck my dick. Suck my dick. Are you crazy? Hell no. You can never pay me enough to do this shit. This is crazy as fuck. I'm not doing it, bro. I'm not doing it.
Safety examples and shadowing from experienced workers. But several employees later told investigators that the place was understaffed and the training
There's so many places understaffed. So many places understaffed, bro.
wasn't always as thorough as it needed to be, especially for a job involving molten metal. A few workers even went as far as to say they felt new employees were rushed into areas that weren't ready for because production deadlines were tight.
Yep.
And the company wanted people on the floor as fast as possible.
Yep.
Now,
that sounds accurate.
Normally that morning, with people checking equipment, prepping material, and dealing with the usual heat that comes from having massive furnaces running non-stop. It was so damn hot, even areas far from the melt floor were hot.
I can't work in places like these. I sweat too easily. I will drown
between them and temperatures that could cause burns without even touching anything. The
I will drown,
bro. Involved platforms built around pits.
This nigga looks like he's working in a volcano, fam. This nigga looks like he's working in a volcano, my nigga. A volcano. Hell nah, bro. No, thank you. I will have no parts. And whatever the fuck y'all are doing, I'm cool. Hell nah.
Stairways, graded metal flooring, and railings that were supposed to keep people away from the most dangerous edges. But this would not happen. Now, according to OSHA and the timeline investigators reconstructed, Steven was assigned to work near one of the large crucibles, which are these huge containers that hold molten iron.
That's big as shit.
These crucibles sit inside sunken pits with platforms wrapping around them so workers can check temperatures and monitor the melt. Now, it was discovered that some of these platforms didn't have proper guardrails or mid-rails even in spots where they were required, and OSHA later confirmed this was true.
Lawsuit!
In fact, there had been concerns raised before Steven was ever even hired.
Money!
But they hadn't been corrected. Now, sometime in the late morning, surveillance footage and witness statements showed Steven working near one of those elevated platforms.
Right.
He had tools with him for checking the material and moving through the normal prep process. Now, investigators couldn't map out every single second because factories like this have constant movement.
Of course.
Noise and visual obstructions. But they narrowed down that Steven took a step toward a section of the platform that didn't have the barrier it was supposed to have. Workers nearby said they heard a quick metallic sound, like something shifting under weight, and when they turned, they saw Steven slip forward. Like I said, there was no railing and no mid-railing, so there was nothing to stop him, and before anyone could reach him, he fell straight into the crucible. The temperature of the molten iron was over 2,500 degrees Fahrenheit.
For reference, the sun is, the sun is 27 million Fahrenheit, bro, degrees. 27 million degrees. At its core, it's supposed to be 10,000 degrees, supposedly 10,000 degrees. I want y'all to understand that. The sun is a star. He fell into about what's 2,500 of 10,000. He fell into like a mini portion of the sun's core. Okay, I want you to understand that. He fell into a mini-sized portion of the sun's core. Yeah. I'm sorry. These niggas deserve to have everything taken from them. As far as money, as far as power, as far as any facility that they might have, they don't need it anymore. It's obvious they're not going to run it properly. Look at him. He is falling into the vat of 1,000 suns. I know it's not 1,000 suns. Technically, it's a tenth of a sun, probably. Maybe a millionth, actually. But I want you to understand, this guy is dead. As soon as he touches this molten lava, he called it molten iron. No, it's molten lava. He's dead. He's gone. He's a goner. R.I.P. my bro. He was just trying to make a living for his family. Doesn't even matter because these people didn't care enough. This is why unions need to be made.
Hot enough to melt through steel, and the exposure was so severe that several workers backed away from the radiant heat.
This is why unions need to be created,
the
bro.
platform
I just want to let y'all know.
Felt like it was hitting them in waves, and they couldn't get within arm's reach because even the briefest contact with that temperature would cause catastrophic injury. The fall happened so fast, there was nothing anyone could physically do.
Facts.
After this, supervisors immediately called emergency services.
I know it's nothing I could do.
And Caterpillar locked down that area while they waited for the
That's all I could do.
County Sheriff's Office
Just
and first responders to arrive.
Oh my God!
And the coroner got there, they had to wait for the temperature to drop enough to safely approach.
When I tell y'all I would take a week off of work, I'm not coming. Shit, I might quit. This might make me quit. This might be the thing that makes me quit this job. On God. That, like, what are you talking about? Especially, bro, we just watched the video about the way Gen Z works and why we not working as hard as boomers. That's going to be up on the channel, BryceDaBadger. You're watching it. You're watching this video here. Yeah, bro, we just watched that video. Fam. I'm not working here anymore. Y'all don't give a fuck. Y'all don't give a damn about my safety. I'm gone. And you know, I know some of y'all out there have a job right now that they have safety meetings every morning. But what's mixed in with the safety meeting? Where they try and feign like they give a fuck about your safety. What do? They talk about their numbers. They talk about the goals that they're trying to hit for the day. And then they make you stretch or do whatever the fuck you do. I ain't gonna lie. I'm naming the Target warehouse experience right now. That's what I'm naming. Target warehouse. That's what they would try to do. To make it seem like they give a fuck about your safety. They would make you stretch and shit like that. No, because if I could still pass out in this fucking trailer. Because all y'all got is this one fan blowing on two niggas inside of a trailer unloading some shit. Shut the fuck up.
And the shutdown process wasn't quick, because you don't just shut off molten iron. Foundry workers had to assist law enforcement and the coroner because the environment was just too dangerous for responders to step in alone. By the time the area cooled, the coroner, Charles Hanley, confirmed that Stephen's death was caused by exposure involving molten metal and traumatic injuries consistent with the conditions in that area. There was no foul play suspected, and the incident was ruled a workplace accident. After this, OSHA began its investigation right away, demanding training records, logs, safety documents, maps of the production floor, and interviews from everyone who had been working there that day. Over the next several months,
I wouldn't mind working for
OSHA. List of safety failures that had been there long before Stephen even arrived. They determined
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Of safety failures that had been there long before Stephen even arrived.
Right.
They determined Caterpillar had failed to protect workers from fall hazards in an area where molten metal was present. The section of platform Stephen had been standing on did not have the required guardrail, and multiple workers confirmed this was new. OSHA also found that employees were not properly trained to recognize hazards in these areas.
This is why unions matter, chat. This is why unions matter. This is why GTA 6 will be getting delayed, because they don't want to pay their workers, because their workers are trying to get together, create a union so they can get paid more.
Who had only
not even paid more, pay properly.
Been there for a few days.
This game will make billions of dollars.
OSHA issued over $145,000 in fines, including one labeled as willful, which is the kind of citation OSHA uses when an employer knew about a hazard and didn't fix it.
Oh, that's bad.
Ended, Caterpillar updated training guidelines,
willful?
Added new guardrails and barriers.
Willful means that they willing to put your life on the line.
OSHA
that's all I hear.
Safeguards to be installed around the melt line area, and they followed up to confirm Caterpillar made the required changes, which they did.
Man, fuck them, bro. On me, fuck them. But listen, if y'all enjoyed the video, like the video. Original video is in the description. Subscribe if you fuck with the vibe, and I'm gonna catch y'all in the next vid, man. Peace.